Lesson 2. In Lesson 2, you're going to learn the following. You're going to learn how Google search thinks differently, how social media has merged with SEO, what is SMO, relationship marketing best practices, 3 ways social media can improve your SEO, and why your business needs an SEO keyword strategy. All right, so go ahead and get started. So Google thinks differently today, right? Tip number 1 is that people no longer blindly trust everything they see or hear. They want social proof. So social proof really matters today. I'm going to share a story with you, kind of a customer journey of how I made a very large purchase and how social proof assisted in me making that big decision. So a couple years ago, I decided to get my yoga teacher certification. In fact, it's something that I've always wanted. And I decided to go ahead and look into that opportunity. And I really wanted to do it fast. I didn't want to take a year to get my certificate. I really wanted to look at sort of a boot camp style. So I started my research on Google, and I was searching for several different options and found several websites. I found a particular website that interested me. I went there and I immediately went to their Facebook page. When I went to their Facebook page, I noticed that one of my good friends was actually already a fan of the page, liked the page. So I thought, well, that's interesting. So I went ahead and sent her a message and I said, hey, what do you know about this company? I'm really intrigued by what they have to offer. And she said, Michelle, this was an amazing, life-changing experience. Please take lots of pictures, send them to me and tell me how it goes. Well, I was sold on this because the opportunity was to basically fly to Hawaii for 2 weeks and learn how to be a yoga teacher. And it was a bit expensive. It required me to take some time off work. And that's a solo trip to Hawaii. That's quite a long flight and all sorts of things. But her validation of the experience really sealed the deal for me. And it wasn't too long after that that I went ahead and invested in that. And it was absolutely an amazing experience, life-changing experience. I'll never forget. But just going back through that customer journey, if I didn't see that she liked the page, if I didn't send her a message, I may not have made that purchase. Because, you know, if somebody tells you to get on a plane for Hawaii and spend lots of money, it is a little bit like, is this legit? And so, yes, absolutely. Social proof allowed me to make a huge buying decision. And that's kind of how these things work, right? So people no longer blindly trust everything they see or hear. They really want social proof. Tip number 2 is Google is constantly updating the search engine algorithms. And as a social media marketer, you do need to understand how those things are being updated. So even though the Google Panda and Google Penguin are looking so cute and fuzzy, they actually have really turned the search engines upside down. And really for good reasons, because unfortunately, a lot of people use what's called black hat SEO tactics, where they sort of understand how Google search works, and then they start to do things that really aren't helping Google to provide the best possible search results. They're stuffing keywords in websites, they're creating multiple pages with the same content. So Google Panda and Penguin came along to change the algorithm to penalize the people that were kind of breaking the way that Google wanted the search to work. And so it can provide the best possible search results. Now, keep in mind, Google is the #1 search engine in the world. And the reason for that is because they really care about how their search results work. Now, this does require a lot of work from us, a marketing perspective, because once you learn, a certain way that Google works and you're using white hat techniques to, rank on search engines, then they're going to change how that works, and you're going to have to understand how that works, and so on and so forth. So it's not that you have to be a search engine optimization expert and social media as a social media manager, but it is important to kind of understand changes that are happening since Google is the #1 search engine in the world. Just have a basic understanding of these changes. Another update was called Google Hummingbird, and that happened because the way people search changed. Instead of people typing in pizza, they would type in the best pizza place in Chicago. So people are typing in strings of content versus when we first had the search engine and we just typed in a keyword. And because of that, that's why blogs matter. And again, this is why to have a loose understanding of these things is important as a social media manager, because now we understand that if you have a blog that answers a question someone's typing in Google search, that is the best way to rank on Google. And so again, knowing these changes is key educating yourself is ideal. So, you know, a lot of times, for example, if I go to use somebody else's computer and their search engine is Yahoo or Bing, I will literally type google.com so that I can use that browser because I just trust their search results. And so again, it's just important to know that Google is constantly changing the algorithms and just to be aware of those things and how it impacts the social media manager. Tip number 3, more likes, shares, and comments count as votes for web page quality. Absolutely. So what makes a difference today is that you have a community involved around your social media. And this also matters to Google because imagine Google has the job of deciding who shows up on page 1 out of billions of websites, right? How does it decide who shows up? Now let's imagine that we have 2 websites. On one hand, we have a website that has a blog, it has the social media sharing buttons, the retweet, the repin, the like, all installed into their website. And on the other hand, imagine that we have a website that was published 10 years ago, hasn't had any fresh content. Google is actually going to rank the website that has the social media activity higher than the one that was published 10 years ago and hasn't had anything new happening. Because all of those likes, shares, and comments on that other website shows it's a vote to Google to say, you know what, this website is quality. We are engaging on this website. It has quality content. So literally social media is aiding in the ranking of websites with Google. So that's really how important this strategy is and how you need to understand how it works and how to incorporate that strategy within your website. Because the job of Google is to provide the absolute search results, best search results. And again, all of that activities, that social media activity is teaching Google, hey, this is a quality place people are going. So wanted to help you understand that. Tip number 4, is your website social media friendly, right? Do you provide visitors with an easy way to like, share, pin, or retweet your content? Can they post product reviews on your website? Are they able to leave blog comments? Again, all of that activity is helping your page rank. So having a social media friendly website is key. And if you're not sure how to do this, you know, if you built your website on WordPress, there is a great plugin called Add This or Share This. It's free and it will easily add all of those share buttons to your website. And a lot of times today, any type of website builder has the ability for you to add those buttons to your website as well. But it is a key component of your website. So you definitely want to take a look and see if you could consider your website social media friendly. Now, how social media has merged with SEO. So a fun fact is 70% of consumers trust peer recommendations over advertising. Let that sink in. That's a pretty big statement. And I totally understand this because, for example, when I open up my Google browser and I see several ads, I actually skip over the ads and I go to see who shows up organically below the ads. Because in my mind, I think, well, those folks paid to be there, right? Who's really showing up on page 1 of Google? Based on Google search results, based on the fact that Google trusts that result to be the best possible result versus someone paying to be there. So we have literally gone blind to paid advertising. It's not that it doesn't totally work, but we have somewhat gone blind to it. And the fact is 70% of consumers trust peer recommendations over advertising. So I'm sure you've seen it on your own Facebook page where somebody asks for a recommendation, right? They're like, hey, can somebody recommend me a plumber, an accountant? You know, I need someone to repair my home. And they'll literally just post that on their Facebook page. And then you'll see friends and family commenting on their recommendations. And a lot of times they'll even have a link to someone's Facebook page, which is genius because then they can click on the Facebook page, look around, see what they have going on, go to their website. You know, there could be a social proof there where they're already validating with one friend recommending the business, and then they go to their page and they see several other friends also liking the business. So that social proof can aid in the ability for them to make a decision. So that's really something to note, that people are trusting peer recommendations over advertising. Some of us might be old enough to remember the Yellow Pages, the actual book that would come and you would go to it and you would search through. Really, that doesn't even exist anymore. So we have this amazing opportunity to reach out to our contacts through online that never used to be several years ago. And so again, this is something to note that people really are trusting peers over advertising today. Another fun fact is building a rich, vibrant network of friends, fans, and followers is now the key to success, right? And I love this for all of us because back in the old days, the way that people really marketed online was they spent lots of marketing dollars and they just saturated you with radio ads, TV ads, newspaper ads, etc. And it typically was the person who could afford to really spend the money for the marketing. But now with social media, small businesses can compete because they have the opportunity to use the same tools that the big fellas have. And they have the opportunity to build really cool relationships with their potential customers and brand advocates. So you don't have to have millions of likes on your page. You could have 100 likes on your page, but 5 brand advocates that can absolutely grow your business. So it allows for kind of an even playing field for small businesses to compete with the ones that have the big budgets. And because people have gone blind to advertising, they're more interested in referrals. That means that social media is a relationship marketing tool. It allows people to build nice relationships with their customers and which they can grow their business. They sort of have an even playing field now that didn't exist several years ago. So that's what's exciting, I think, about social media is the opportunity to really build relationships and grow your business. And again, you don't need millions of people to do that. You could have just a handful of people that will make a huge difference. So what we have today is something called social media optimization. And basically, it's the merging of SEO, search engine optimization, with social media, to coin a new term, social media optimization. And what this is relationship marketing. So the folks that are still just doing SEO are not understanding the power of social media and how those two have merged and how you could still be doing SEO strategies, but also keeping in mind how social media has changed marketing overall and how they've come together to be a very effective way to do your marketing. What this is really the funnel. As you see, it's showing the social media networks driving traffic from their platforms to your website. So through social media, we're turning people into prospects and leads and customers. We're able to use social media as part of our sales funnel process. And what this is doing is creating a long-term marketing strategy. It is influencing powerful word of mouth. It drives quality traffic to your website. It helps you build quality relationships. It builds credibility and trust. It helps you drive offline sales. And of course, it also inspires brand advocates. So I just want to make you aware of these new terms that are coming to be and why and how they work. So 3 ways that social media can improve your SEO. Tip number 1, social media can lead to authentic high quality backlinks from influential websites. Absolutely. So if you're doing your social media posts right, you're providing amazing content and you're publishing blogs throughout the internet. And those blogs can be picked up from other people, right? And they can be sharing your blogs amongst their social media fans and followers. And so they're creating what's called backlinks, right? They're creating links from their places back to your website. So not only is your blog driving traffic from your own social media platforms, but if it's good enough and people click share, now they're actually driving traffic to your website on their social platforms. So social media can absolutely help with SEO because SEO strategies are based on quality backlinks, right? That's the tactic that they're using. SEO people tend to try to find the right places to post your website links online, but social media is doing that for you simply by the fact that people can share your content and they're doing the heavy lifting versus the SEO person who is manually posting your links to those places to create high quality backlinks. So social media can absolutely help improve your SEO. Tip number 2, social media is the easiest and most effective way to push out your blogs to drive quality traffic back to your website. Absolutely. And we're going to learn about those strategies in our boot camp today. And what I'm going to teach you is essentially how to identify the right places to post your blog. We're talking about groups, targeted groups through Facebook and LinkedIn, for example, where you can put your blog in front of the right people at the right time, driving that traffic back to your website. And we're going to go into some really amazing strategies to think more strategically about writing that content, publishing it, bringing it back. I'd like to almost look at it as if it's a fishing line. Imagine you have a fishing pole and you're sending out several lines, you're casting several lines out there, and you're reeling people back to your website. That's really how blogs help your strategy. And we're going to talk a lot about how important blogging is to your social media strategy and how everyone must have a blog strategy if they're going to participate well with social media. But it can absolutely improve your SEO. Tip number 3, Google has a partnership with Twitter. So anything you tweet publicly can show up on page 1 of Google. So again, thinking about what you're tweeting about is key because Google is actually publishing Twitter conversations on its platform. So why your business needs an SEO keyword strategy. You still do need to think about search engine optimization, how it works. Because a fun fact is 75% of users never scroll past the first page of search results. Absolutely true. I'm sure each of us can identify with that. We literally have 3-second attention spans, right? If we're out there trying to solve a problem and we're going to Google and we're looking for solutions, we are not going to go to page 10 or 20. We're literally maybe going to go to page 5 at the most, but we're looking for the answers within page 1. So the fact is 75% of users never scroll past the first page of search results. So I'm going to teach you strategies to help influence your search results, to hopefully have you show up on page 1, best case scenario. There is a way to do that, and those are the strategies I'm going to teach you, such as the blogging and things like this. So just something to note that being on page 1 of Google matters, right? So tip number 1, ranking high on search engines builds trust and credibility. How can you write blogs that answer frequently asked questions? So this is one of the tips that I share in all of my training. A lot of people get stumped. They're like, Michelle, I understand that I need a blog strategy, but I just don't know what to write about. I said, well, here's how you can kick it off. Write down 10 of your most frequently asked questions and write those as blogs today. So I recommend that people post anywhere from 2 to 4 blogs a month. And so if you do that and you do 2 blogs a month, then you've almost got a year's worth of content plus, right? Depending on how frequent you want to post your blogs. So this is how Google is being used. People are literally typing questions into Google. Imagine if you write a blog for a question that your customers are always asking. And when somebody goes to type in Google looking for the answer, imagine you show up on page 1, your blog. And then they click on your blog and they read it. Now there's 3 things that have to happen in order for someone to buy from you. They have to know you, like you, and trust you. So just by typing in their question and you showing up, they know you. They now see your blog. And as they read through the blog and you provide the answer they're looking for, now they like you because that's the answer, that they were seeking. Now, in order for them to trust you, you need to have a call to action at the end of your blog, such as click here to sign up for my newsletter for great tips like this, or subscribe to my YouTube channel for great educational information. What is the next step? People do like to be told what to do. So you don't want to create a blog and just have no call to action, just sort of, okay, great, have a nice day, see you later, because they'll just leave. But if you give them a reason to stay, a reason to connect, they will possibly take that step. So again, in order to make a sale, they have to know you, like you, and trust you. And the way to build trust is to consistently show up. So if they subscribe to your email newsletter and you're consistently sending them great content, over time, they're going to trust you and they will convert into customers. So that's how ranking high in search engines builds trust and credibility. Literally, like I said, I go to page 1 and I skim past the ads. Whoever shows up organically, I really have trust for, because Google has a huge job to, out of the billions of websites, who shows up on page 1. I trust their search engine, their search results. So again, writing blogs that answer frequently asked questions will help you build great audience. Tip number 2 is to reach people who are looking for exactly what your business offers. What is the problem your business solves, right? So people are using search engines to get answers to questions, to solve their problems. And so a lot of what I'm going to teach you today is to really identify what is the problem your business solves. Your exercise is going to be to write down those problems and how you're solving them, because that is the marketing message, the mantra that you want across all of your channels. And this is key. And we're going to talk more about this, but it is something to note, and we'll talk in detail about this. Tip number 3, measure which search keywords are the most valuable for your business. Track your keyword analytics through Google Analytics. So we're going to talk too about thinking about the keywords that you want to be known for, found with, ranked with, because a lot of times somebody will write a beautiful blog, but if you really take inventory of that blog, it does not have the right keywords. Because remember, Google is a search engine with robots that are simply crawling pages and deciding who shows up on page one. So it's not an intelligent human per se, it's just a robot that's doing its job. So with that, we have to feed that robot, that search engine with the right keywords so that it knows how to rank you appropriately. And so we're going to talk about identifying what those keywords are. And then I'm going to talk about the value of Google Analytics. You know, that is a free tool that Google provides. It provides a little bit of code that you put on your website, but then you have access to a reporting tool that will tell you exactly what type of traffic they're driving to your website, what keywords are driving that traffic, what social media networks are taking care of that as well. So that's just something to note, right? Needing to know what are the keywords that are the most valuable for your business. So what you're going to do now, using your social media workbook, I want you to write down 10 to 20 keywords you would like to be known for and found with. I'm also going to have you go to Google and see who shows up for those keywords now and list them in your social media workbook. This is going to be a great exercise that's going to teach you how to rethink your content strategy. Because again, if you're writing a blog, you want to make sure that those keywords are in that blog. If you're writing your introduction or your profile, make sure those keywords are showing up. So we're going to take about 5 minutes and we're going to give you some time to complete this exercise, and then we'll be coming back to the training. Thank you.